What's going on, everyone? We're back with another broken gaming PC to fix. This one's a little bit different. I'm gonna read off what the customer sent to me because it's been a while since I had talked to him. And his message goes, "Hey Kyle, I bought a PC off you last year and wanted to upgrade the GPU, but also I have a Facebook PC that my little brother bought off me for $160 a few months ago. We've never been able to get it to turn on, and immediately after getting home, we noticed that the seller had blocked us. Any chance he would be interested in doing both?" Now, I've already upgraded his personal rig, and this has actually been sitting around, I'm not gonna lie, for about 2 months now. Kind of slow on getting around to it, but we have it here, and there are some massive, massive concerns. If you guys a closer look at what I'm talking about here, that's pretty much gonna be this whole video, so keep in mind, this is hanging out. This needs to be connected. I can't find any SATA connectors there. There's a Molex one, but no SATA, so this would never work. In other words, the pump there that they have connected is not gonna work at all. I also noticed, if you look closely, move this light, you can see that there's only 2 screws, and I'm getting a little bit of that 2-screw vibe on quite a few things here. If we actually look at the power supply in the back, we have mixed screws like this one here, and then we get one here, completely different screws. So it looks like this is one of those PCs where somebody has a bunch of parts that are bad on the internet and they throw it all in one box and sell it for cheap to get rid of everything. And I can't really tell as of right now, but we're gonna try and power it on. I know that this does not work, but we can quickly power it on for a second and then, you know, take everything out and see what does and doesn't work. So I did go ahead and check the mess of cables down here, but to make sure that the front panel was connected, and it is. So let's see if we can, oh, we actually got power for a second and then it turned off. See it? Try it one more time. Yeah, so it's just immediately turning off, which means something is obviously dead. It's probably a dead motherboard or something. So in a case like this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out this GPU and start with that first, and we'll throw the GPU on the test bench to see if that works at all. This is so crammed in here. Like, whatever this person did, and this case is one of those very light cases. All right, so we got the GPU out, and let's confirm, it's an R9 390 8 gig, so this is not even a 290, it's a 390. Pretty similar still, but. All right, let's remove this 3070 that we were using, which, by the way, all of this stuff has been previously tested here, so it's a fully working bench. Now let's just hit go. So far, that's actually a good sign. We got fans are spinning up. Hopefully we get a picture. And obviously it's not turning off and on at this point, so we know the card's probably good. Is taking in, oh no. This red line is not a, yeah, so this card's probably cooked. It's possible you can fix it, but at this point in time, with this age, I'm not even gonna bother. So that's artifacting, if you guys don't know. Yeah, all right, so I'm just gonna go with this. This card is probably no good. Let me see if I can install the driver and then we'll get right back. So as you can see, the screen is all grayed out and the fan stopped spinning. So now what happens after I try to install the driver, the screen basically goes black and nothing works. And eventually this will shut off. So instead of trying to, there you go, great, awesome, perfect timing. Instead of trying to fix this, I'm pretty sure this is a lost cause. I do have 2 RX 580s here, which are a decent upgrade over the R9. I mean, they're pretty similar in performance, but this one's really nice. So I think I'll give him this. This actually came from Mel. Thanks, Mel. That was a free dono, so I'll pass on the card to somebody else. All right, so now that the card is out, I have flicked on the switch to the on position, and we're gonna try and see if we'll get power again. Red light came on. All right, I'm not even gonna bother anymore. Let's unplug this power supply, test the power supply, and then probably take out the board. I mean, these are the next kind of troubleshooting steps at this point. Also, this is kind of a concern, only because I used to do stuff like this years ago to like spice up a computer And there's a good chance that what's happening here is that this was somebody shady that bought a bunch of parts that are not working. For example, I cannot get this out. All right, it just needed to be moved a little bit. So we have this 1500 1.5 terabyte hard drive. This is really old. Let's see if we can find a date on it somewhere. Yeah, as you can see right there, it's 2010. So this is a super old hard drive. I mean, it probably still works, but so we have SSD that also has some broken plastic there. Really crappy, not even hooked up. So that's a scam in itself. Let's quickly get this power supply out of here with the mismatching screws. I did reach back out to the customer and ask them if they had messed around or like pulled anything out of this. And they said that they haven't touched anything at all. So since they got it, it's been the exact same that they got it in the condition it is. As for this power supply, again, guys, it's looking a little bit bad because even if it does work, and I was telling Min this just recently because he had brought me a bunch of nice power supplies that had missing the EVGA 1000 and Corsairs, and they had the missing stuff here, and like I can't just guess. So, and there's absolutely no indication of what this is on it. So let's just test it anyways. If it works, we can use it for something else, but all right, we got it all plugged up. Also, there's no SATA and no Molex. I thought there was a Molex, but there's no Molex, so I can't even get an adapter. But yeah, let's just see if it works. So turn it on, and we got power, and now I can cycle through. Let me show you guys up close. So this is cycling through, and basically the only things that are here that work, PCIe, CPU, and the 24-pin power. So we're good. I'm gonna pull out this card, and I think what we're gonna do next is pull out that motherboard and put it on this test bench here. And another thing I just noticed is that, look at here, there's only one screw on the bottom and one screw on the top holding this AIO in. So my guess is that this AIO doesn't work either, because it's starting to look like a lot of things in here are purposely thrown together as a scam. We are gonna hook this up to see if it works. I will leave these two mounted. There does seem to be enough pressure on the CPU to be making contact, and yeah. The other thing that I find funny is that with a lot of these people who scam people, they never have the IO shield, and the IO shield is here too. So that's kind of lucky. So the one other thing I'm noticing, I'm gonna put the mic really close. There's a lot of slushiness, a lot of liquid moving around in that cooler. So even if it does turn on, it's probably gonna be a little noisy. And I just had a couple of these come through around this same age of this cooler that are all kind of noisy now. And it's kind of unfortunate. So we're getting to see these older AIOs failing as time goes on. So maybe if you're worried about that, it is a good idea to go with an air cooler. All right, the power switch is on, and they're gonna go for this is the old style. Oop, all right, turned on for exactly a second, just like last time. So I don't have a speaker, and there's no readouts or beep codes on this. Let's open the socket and see what's going on with the socket. If we take this off, you can see that the standoffs that they used aren't even the right standoffs. So we quite literally, the amount of problems that I have seen on this one build in particular is insane. We should probably take some of these RAM sticks out too, because there's a good chance it's probably a bad memory, bad RAM. All right, so this cooler is noisy, and look at this. Can you guys see the edge right there? That looks like it's like had a leak or something. Look really closely there. There's like some oxidization and like leaking going around the edge. So let's just not use this AIO for the meantime. We'll check it out at the end. You guys want to make a guess of what the CPU is? My guess is a 4770 if it's an i7. They said it was an i7. So if they weren't lying about that, then a 4790K. That's actually a pretty nice CPU. So hopefully the CPU is not dead. Just a little bit of foreshadowing here. So upon closely inspecting the socket, I don't see anything majorly wrong with it. There's a little tiny bit of dirt, but we're gonna blow that out. I think for right now, just to be safe, I'm gonna leave one stick of memory in, just as a, I don't know, to rule out any other problems. And you can slowly, one by one, start putting in more of the memory if we get it to boot. Also, I do have this from a different build a while back. It's a 4690K, so we're gonna toss that in there with this single stick of memory to see if it turns on. All right, now we got a better cooler on there for now. Well, let's just see if this turns on. We get the power. All right, that's a lot further than last time. So it could be one of these memory sticks that I have here is bad, but okay. Got power. No bootable device, we're good. All right, so we're in the BIOS. Let's put these sticks of memory back in and see what happens. Hope it works. Actually, if this works, it's kind of a bad sign for the CPU, which I was just joking about, but that would totally suck. That would be the, let's see, yep, there you go. 16 gigs of RAM, I bet, showing up. There you go, we get the i5 4690K, and it doesn't show the RAM amount in this here, but yeah, we'll dig through it, but it seems like it's working, so I'm not gonna waste any paste on this just because we're only testing it. And there's enough leftover paste that should be fine. So throwing the 4790K back in. All right, and so previously it would just turn on for a second and turn off. If it does that, we kind of know that the CPU is probably bad. Damn it, yep. So I'm not even gonna keep trying. That's not a good sign. So we got a good motherboard out of it for $160 and 16 gigs of RAM and half a working power supply. So just for the heck of it, I hooked back up the other processor, and I also hooked up this AIO just to show you guys that this thing is probably bad too. So let's go. Yep, you can literally hear the pump. So that needs some more water. I'm going to turn that off immediately. Could this be fixed? Probably. Could probably add some more liquid into it. The pump doesn't sound good, and the fact that it looks like it was leaking around the edge kind of concerns me. So I'm going to replace the CPU cooler for him. And just for the heck of it, let's throw in this RX 580, this nicer one, and hook up the SSD and hard drive to see what's going on with those. So it might not seem like it, but this is actually a pretty good thing that we're seeing all of these things show up, these partitions. Now I'm just gonna go in and delete all of them. I don't really care what's on here. The guy, again, never got this working, so it's not like he has anything safe on here or anything on here he wouldn't want deleted. So let's go with this. So that is the 1.4 terabyte, 1.5, and then the 120. So we're gonna use the SSD to install Windows. All right guys, so we're in Windows, and as you can see, we have a healthy basic partition for the hard drive here, the 1500, just keeps shrinking all the time. And then the SSD, the 128 or 120 gig, pretty good. And yeah, so basically what I want to show you though, is if we look over here at the Crystal Disk Health, we have good on the 128 gig, which has been on for quite a while, 4,127 hours. So that's a lot of time, but SSDs are pretty good. Now this guy has been on for 43,000 hours, almost 44,000 hours. And we're getting a caution sign, which is not good. I'm gonna try a few things and check this, but ideally, I think we should just pull this out, and I'm gonna tell the owner to get a different hard drive, or maybe I can find a different one. So what do I make of all this? We got a bad 4790K. We got a semi-working power supply that I'm gonna swap out. So it's still gonna cost me some money. I can use this for something that's not crazy, who knows, we'll figure that out. We have a bad R9 390, which is kind of unfortunate because this is an 8 gigabyte card. That would have been a pretty decent card. We got a definitely not functioning properly cooler. And what do we have for good stuff? We got a good board, good memory, an okay case, and I upgraded or downgraded him rather to a functioning 4690K. I'm gonna give him this RX 580. He's gonna use a different SSD. I talked to him briefly. He thinks he might have a larger SSD he can install Windows on. So I'm gonna let him figure that out on his own. I am gonna give him this, which is a nice up here CPU tower cooler. And I got some fans along with the power supply coming tomorrow. So we're gonna have to sit on it for now, and we'll be right back. And for you guys, it's gonna be a blink of an eye. Sit, sit, paw. Good boy. Alrighty, it's the following day, and just like many of you, many of my packages come through Amazon. I saw these for 20 bucks. It's a 6-pack of RGB fans. I thought it was a pretty good deal. Obviously, nothing too spectacular. They look almost like metal, but they are not. They are plastic. And then the dreaded power supply. Now, this is something I normally would never buy, and I have a friend who has been using them quite a bit and having quite a bit of luck, no issues. This is the infamous Apevia power supply. It was only like 25 bucks. Again, guys, let's just remind everyone that this is a really, really old budget PC at this point. All right, there it is, nothing too fancy. And there's your spec list on the side. It's not a great power supply. I would not consider this to be a real 600 watt. It's a little bit lower than that. That being said, I've seen quite a few channels like DLM Tech Garage. Of course, you have Greg Salazar, who get companies that send him stuff to replace parts for customers so that customers don't pay and I won't have to pay. And that's kind of like the problem I'm in right now. So if anyone wants to reach out and do like some sort of sponsorship where I just show off the product so I can help a customer get something for free and it doesn't cost me or you guys or them, that would be awesome. Be quiet, hit me up. All right, got the back plate in there. It's time for the dreaded CPU application. We're gonna go with the old-fashioned X. X gonna give it to you. Oh man, I think this paste that they gave me is dried out. Awesome. Even this is a little bit too much. Here, I'll smooth it out just a little bit. Don't be a noob like me. Make sure you peel that sticker off. This one's pretty straightforward. It's that easy, and look at all that RAM clearance too. You guys see right there? Not bad. Nice job up here. Now, quite surprisingly, this case is not that dirty, but I am still gonna give it a quick spray down. I'm not even gonna bring it outside. Normally I would bring this outside, but there's actually not a ton of grime in here, so. So this is kind of out of order for a traditional build, but normally you wouldn't do the power supply first, but I'm gonna do that first just so I can get these cables routed due to how tight this entire area is. So let's just toss this in here real quick. This case is so light that like I can't, I gotta get some kind of like rubber grips just to use it. I'm also gonna throw in the fans really quick too, even though the board's not in, because these holes here are quite small to pass stuff through. So I gotta pre-think about cable management. So guys, every once in a while I make what I would call a bad judgment call, and I think this is probably one of them, where I'm trying to put these fans in here and it's just kind of ridiculous. I wish I could have replaced the case for him, but it's such an old cheap computer that it's like, might as well just replace everything at that point. This computer is so gross. Like everything is so sticky. And I can't even get this off. I'm literally gonna do this. I don't even care. I don't care at this point. Yep, that works. All right, time to pop in the GPU. Luckily, the same 2 slots are being used. And I still have to put the 24 pin in and all that stuff, but I want to make sure that all this stuff clears and is not sitting on the GPU like it was before, because that looked terrible. So here we go. I'm going to zip tie that up like this, but the GPU looks like it sits in there nice. Man, this case, for being a cheap old case, is really tight up in here, and I made it work. Something I'll probably never suggest doing to anybody, but I want this kid to have some RGB. So here's its first power on. And I'm gonna have to adjust the fans. Some nice red LEDs on the bottom of those fans. Instantly boot it up. And it does look pretty good. You get some RGB in the front there. I'm not gonna do any like fancy B-roll, but some up top. Looks like that fan's not spinning. I wonder if it's hitting something. probably hitting something, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Oh yeah, there's a wire. If you look right there, that wire is hitting that fan. Watch if we move it just a little bit. Ah! All right, got it fixed. You can see with the white on, nothing is hitting anymore. I also left this wired up over here so that they can install a hard drive really easily, or anything else that they want to install. Yeah, let's put the side panel on. All right, I've dimmed the lights to show you how nice and Darth Vader-y this looks. It's actually not too bad. The glass, acrylic rather, is rather scratched up, as you can see there, but if he wants, I can actually cut a little piece of glass. All right guys, so I'm running Passmark, which is a really good free benchmark tool if you guys need a benchmark tool. Does a whole bunch of different things. But I want to talk about this computer and Passmark, jokingly. I want to talk about that, how this is sort of a fail. And the reason it's a fail is because I had to spend quite a bit of money to get it up and running correctly with the amount of problems it had. We're talking dead GPU, barely functioning AIO. We had all sorts of other stuff going on. We had the motherboard is good, bad i7, bad AIO. Like the power supply is still good. Maybe I can find a cable for that. That might not be a problem. But because it's a brand that I'm unsure of, oh yeah, this benchmark's quite insane, by the way. It's just gonna go nuts. But yeah, anyways, here, let's block that. Let's block that from your view. My opinion on this situation is never do this. This was an absolute waste of money. I probably would have ripped the board out, maybe sell the board on eBay or sell it on Facebook Marketplace and just start over. Because at this point, when you have that many bad pieces of hardware, and again, like I'm doing this just to fix this PC, kind of similar to other channels that do this, like let's get this thing back up and running. But realistically, this is not a good way to spend your money. Do not go out and buy power supply and RGB fans just because you can get this thing up and running. If you consider all the parts I had to replace, it's like finding a lot of the stuff secondhand. Sure, it's cheap, but we're already like $200 in with the CPU, you know, the GPU, the power supply, the fans. Like at that point, you might as well just save up and buy something new, or at least like salvage some of the parts by selling them. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. If you like the video, drop a like. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Yeah, see you guys next time.